worked for the New York City Police Department from 1969 to 1996.
I served in the New York City Police Department for 20 years, from 1986 to 2006.
I served as a member of the New York City Police Department from 2003 to 2023.
Oh yeah, and this is the Plymouth Fury, 8 cylinders. They were good cars. And then they changed over to the blue cars.
But the Grand Fury, I liked it. It wasn't the fastest car in the world, had a V8. What I loved about it was, if you look at the front and the back, they're almost identical. It made it easy, it was narrow, great visibility. The K car in the back, they only had 1 or 2 of them when I was around. They were all busted up. Then we went to the Impalas. I didn't particularly care for the Impalas at all. I wasn't a fan.
So this is a Ford Crown Victoria, or Crown Vic as we like to call it. This was one of the first cars that I rode in. It felt more like driving a boat, the Ford Interceptor SUV. When they first started implementing these cars, only the bosses rode around in these cars. And then some years later, they integrated them into Patrol. So this was a real luxury to ride in. Super fast, handled great. It was just more modern coming from the Crown Vic to this.
The bubblegum and a bubblegum top, just the one light on the top. Now with these cars, you had the rack up here, and you had inside, it was a better setup and better communications. And then years later, of course, they put computers in. They had found that the siren here in the old cars, they weren't heard as well. This was a straight sound. You turned it on, that was the alarm. Here, you could have 3 different types of alarms.
The original sirens when I first started the Grand Furies, and even after that, you hit the horn button once and you get, we used to call it the whoop. Whoop them out of the way, whoop them out of the way. And you get that whoop. We had a couple different tones, right? You had that high-low European style, wee-wah, whatever. I liked a little bit of a mix. One sound constantly kind of just gets lost in the sauce. So if you mix it up, change it up, maybe somebody ahead of you will say, oh gee, something's going on, let me get the hell out of the way. Now it's just you hit the sign, you get that.
They call it the grumbler. It would make like a rumbling sound. The car would actually shake a little bit. Oh my God, it would just be like, everything would shake. That's it. That first, that's the shaking.
Well, when you had the sirens on, did people get out of the way for you?
Never.
But they always move for the fire department though.
A lot of them didn't have air conditioning. You used to have to fight to get an air-conditioned car. You'd sweat in these cars.
If you're asking if guys left the cars dirty, absolutely. So in the morning, sometimes you'd be picking up a real mess. You know, no gas in the car, coffee cups.
You would always smell like whatever someone ate. Everyone thinks their food smells good until the next person has to smell it.
And there was always an excuse.
Guys ever get punished for leaving it dirty?
Yeah, this is one of the stories that some people used to do. If one particular guy would leave the car awful all the time, they'd go down, if they had a stable, they'd go down and put horse manure on top of the air filter just before the end of the tour. And when the guy came in and relieved them and started up the car, and they'd go a few miles, and all of a sudden, this strange odor would come. That would cure the guy if he was dirtying the car, because he knew why that was done.
This actually looks a lot nicer than the car I rode in. It has all its hubcaps, which is very rare. Our cars typically did not look like this, and it figures because it is a highway patrol car.
The other stuff that guys did to them, which I never really understood, ripping the vents out, they'd poke holes in the dashboard so that they could stick their pen in there to make it like a pen holder, and the guys are pretty abusive.
People like to pick at the steering wheel, so there was always little pieces of it missing for some reason.
These old RMPs have served the department very well for many years, but it's time for a change. The old RMPs like this one will soon be history. There goes the past. Deputy Chief of the Department and Head of the Administrative Services Bureau, George Latimer, will introduce the future, our new cruiser fleet.
As the chief said, cars have been a sore point in the department. We haven't had enough vehicles, and the ones we do have haven't been maintained properly. When you're waiting for backup in a subway station, you don't want to hear about the car in the shop. And you don't want to hear that budget constraints kept us from buying that extra car that could have gotten to you in time. I don't want to hear it either. Our vehicle program has 3 parts. We're replacing old vehicles, we're expanding the total number of vehicles by more than 1/3, and we're working with the Transit Authority to make police vehicle maintenance a top priority. The first shipment of 41 fully outfitted Chevrolet Caprice four-door sedans like the ones you see here is scheduled for delivery this month. As they come in, we'll begin to retire some of our GMC trucks. The replacement of the old trucks will continue into 1991 and 92, when we expect to swap 40 more trucks for police cruisers. Our Equipment and Vehicle Study Committee, headed by Captain Ken Donahue and Lieutenant Joe Gianetto, and including union representatives, has recommended that we expand our fleet from the current 119 vehicles to 168 over the next year or so. Our first priority is to support the patrol force and detective units. By mid-October, most districts should have 4 patrol vehicles, including at least 2 new cruisers. That's a 100% increase in patrol vehicles at the district level. Unmarked administrative vehicles and marked support vehicles will be replaced later. 35 of the 41 new cruisers will be marked blue and whites, rather than unmarked cars. Marked cars make a statement on the streets, increasing police presence and making people feel safer. I'd like to show you some of the features of the new vehicles, inside and out. We're staying with the Whalen Light Bar, which has 8 rotating lights rather than the standard 6. A high-quality speaker is fixed to the center of the bar. A new siren system allows the driver to sound the siren by pushing on the horn, a change suggested by a number of our officers. Inside, the front seat is covered with cloth, which breathes better than vinyl and stays cooler in warm weather. The rear seats are covered with a heavy-duty vinyl that is easy to clean. We've also installed prisoner gates for improved officer safety. These cars are equipped with a fuel-injected 350 cubic inch V8 engine. Fully marked and equipped, they actually sell for about $3,400 less than the GMC trucks we've been using. So we're saving the public's money and getting a superior piece of equipment that's better suited to our needs. While new vehicles are important, the care and maintenance of our fleet is even more critical. Expanding the fleet will give us something we've never had before, a reserve of vehicles. We'll be able to perform routine maintenance and repair accidental damage without crippling the fleet in the field. But it's up to you to help the Transit Authority maintenance personnel by doing your part. Don't abuse these cars. Careless or reckless driving has no place in a professional police department.
There's still a long way to go, but the new cruisers are another brick in the road, as are the new 9mm firearms and the modernized communication systems. In return, I've asked for your help in working aggressively to reduce the robbery rate, to crack down on fare beaters, and to eliminate the general atmosphere of disorder on the subway system. I'm encouraged by the cooperation you've given me so far, both at the command level and among patrol officers, who are the most vital link. You can make a difference. Working together, we can make the difference. Let's increase our efforts to take back the subways for the citizens of New York City.